Well, hey, I know that you've been waiting for the moment to be right. Wondering if it really matters, and if it's worth the fight. But tell yourself that it's not make a quick decision, but I can tell your story. Just need some revision. Dreams are out there waiting. Dreams are out there waiting. Dreams are out there waiting for you to make the first move. And I'll come to you.
Hello from my heart, everybody. Welcome to Transitions to Transformation Radio. This is your host, Reverend Sue, and tonight, once again, I want to thank and welcome Patricia Walker, author of Dance of the Electric Hummingbird. It's a great book all about her amazing spiritual experience that led her directly to Sammy Hagar, of all people, and he turned out to be her spiritual mentor and friend. And it's an amazing night. This is part 2 of our first part, of our interview from the last time. We covered a lot of Patricia's book, but we didn't quite cover all of it. And we're also going to talk about a project that Patricia's working on called Infinite Possibilities at the Monroe Institute. So I just wanted to ask everybody once again, many people find their spirituality in churches, mosques, temples, or nature. Well, where do you find yours? Well, tonight's inspiring guest found hers at a rock concert, and that is so cool. And, I wanted to recap what we did last time. So back in 2003, Patricia Walker and her husband Dee went to a concert Sammy Hagar was playing at in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. And little did either Patricia or Dee know how this concert would be the catalyst for an otherworldly an out-of-body experience that both illuminated and propelled Patricia's spiritual journey. And it also brought back certain aspects of herself she thought were long gone, as well as uncovered Patricia's hidden gifts of being an extraordinary writer and psychic medium. In Patricia's book, Dance of the Electric Hummingbird, An Ordinary Woman's Accidental Journey to Enlightenment, the Supernatural and Rock Star Sammy Hagar, Patricia writes about this amazing, otherworldly, and very musical journey back to her soul, and she does this in a very real, very candid, and raw way. You'll get to know Patricia Walker and feel like you're standing right beside her as she is going through her amazing transformation from being a physically, financially, and mentally broken woman from a previous marriage filled with abuse to an empowered, centered woman who, through her very personal story, is able to inspire and uplift others to realize their full potential. And no matter what other people say, you will fulfill your dreams too. And that's why I played Dreams Are Out There Waiting in the beginning. My friend Joe Giulio and John Tobacco, both my friends, had created that song, and it's a very inspiring song. And I'll play it in its full duration later. I also wanted to mention Patricia Walker has a wonderful website. It's called www.bajarockpat.net, and that is BAJAROCK Pat, PAT.net. And here you can read Pat's blog, a link to buy her book. Well, actually, her book actually sold out on Amazon this week. That's how good it is. So when you can get your hands on it, it's an awesome read. And there's also a link about the definition of mysticism and a link to Sammy Hagar, who is a true rock legend and, in my opinion, is a shaman who heals through his music. And he healed me with his song, Both Sides Now, which is all about walking through the darkness of yourself and life's crazy situations to standing in the light. And you know what that old saying says, you have to cross the moat to get to the castle. And Sammy Hagar was in the band Montrose, did a lot of great solo work as well as write and perform great songs for a very well-known rock band called Van Halen. Great songs like Dreams, which propelled Patricia Walker to her spiritual destiny, which we're going to play tonight, and Right Now, which inspires us all to live in the present and that it's all right to take chances and a leap of faith. And Love Comes Walking In, about Sammy's extraterrestrial experience many years ago. It's just an awesome, awesome song. And I'd love to read, once again, Patricia Walker's biography, as it's really, really impressive. Patricia Walker is an active member of Northern Colorado Writers, Colorado Independent Publishers Association, and Word by Word Writers Group. She graduated Phi Beta Kappa with an Associate of Arts degree. She is a music lover and avid concert goer. While working for her local Harley-Davidson dealership, she assisted with the annual live performances in their amphitheater. She also wrote the company's newsletter and online updates. Patricia has written for the Van Halen News Desk, one of Van Halen's foremost sites for band information, and for the international music website livenation.com. How cool is that? Her articles have been featured on FortCollinsLifetimes.com, TheAmericanChronicle.com, CaliforniaChronicle.com, and ColoradoCarvers.org, as well as Hadra News, Inspire Me Today, Aquarius Magazine, Asana Journal, Ultimate Classic Rock, Van Halen Nation, woohoo, and Van Halen News Desk, and Drumline. She is a featured author on the darthwriter.blogspot.com. Her essay, From Ordinary to Extraordinary, is featured online with This I Believe Global Organization at www.thisibelieve.org. The organization works in conjunction with National Public Radio to offer inspiration and hope to others. Her article, Crossing the Line, is published at www.satyama.com, and that's SATIAMA.com, a New Age website dedicated to exploring innovative spiritual concepts. And she maintains her own website at www.bajarockpat.net, as well as composing requested guest posts for several online blogs, and that was, once again, BAJAROCKpat.net. She has had several poems published in the following compilations: Front Range Review, Spring 2002, Front Range Review, Spring 2005, My Griefs to Sing 2007, and Walking Grief 2010. In addition to interviewing professionals from musicians to Zen masters for her book, she completed more than 10 years in the formal study of philosophy and martial arts, rising to the rank of a deputy black belt in Taekwondo. So don't mess with Patricia Walker. Patricia has extensive experience as a radio talk show guest and has received great praise for her engaging interviews. With her husband, Dee, Pat resides in northern Colorado, where she is at work on her next book. And it's just wonderful. I know I did kind of a long intro, but Pat really deserves it. And, I just want to welcome you once again to the show, Pat.
Thank you, Sue. It's so great to be here.
Great to have you once again. So this is part 2. We had a grand time last time. We couldn't stop talking.
That's why we need a part 2.
That's right.
It's always a pleasure to talk to someone like you who makes it so easy and makes your guests feel so welcome. And so it's not a chore at all. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much, Pat. That's the best compliment ever. So, yeah, I think we have a couple things to talk about tonight. We have your book, which, by the way, like I said before, it's sold out on Amazon this week. That's how good it is. This book won the 2013 Colorado Independent Association's EVVY Merit Award. How cool is that?
Yeah, that was a big honor, a very big honor, and it's also a big honor to look on Amazon and find out that they're temporarily out of stock. But that's thanks to all the readers and people like you who have been so good to me. I couldn't have done it without all of you. So, but there will be more books back in stock very soon. Just have to get them shipped from the publisher, and you can still get them at barnesandnoble.com as well, or in ebook format from Amazon or Barnes and Noble. So it shouldn't be too long.
Yeah. It's a fantastic book, and like I said earlier, I mean, you feel like you're walking side by side with Hugh. You know, it's almost like you're taking the journey with you. That's how great the writing is.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And
I wanted to give people an experience, not just to talk at them, because that way people get more out of the experience of reading and can apply that to their own lives rather than just having it be nothing wrong with a fiction book. Those are wonderful, wonderful too. But I just had such a personal message I wanted to share that I was really hoping to get people to actually feel what I was feeling, because I thought that was really important.
Oh, yeah. And you definitely conveyed that in your book. It was just really one of the best reads I have ever had, and I just couldn't put it down.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful compliment.
Oh, anytime. It's just a fabulous, fabulous book, and you know, it's raw, and your raw emotion comes out, and you know, you have a lot of great quotes in there, and we covered a lot of the chapters in the last episode. There's one thing I wanted to cover more that really piqued my interest. Now, where we left off last time was the chapter where you met Sonia Choquette, who's a very well-known psychic, and she said you had 17 past lives with Sammy Hagar.
That I kind of was expecting that maybe something like that could be going on, because I was having so many coincidences that involved him directly and indirectly, and they all kind of pointed to that possibility, and I wasn't really sure at the time if I even believed that could happen or whatever. Not that I didn't believe. I'm open-minded about pretty much everything, but still very skeptical, which is what a lot of the book is about, is trying to balance being skeptical with all these amazing things that were happening. So I went to see Sonia at a local venue, and she, at the end of her talk, takes questions from a few audience members. And I had actually a premonition of this happening a couple of years before, that she would actually answer my question. So I went prepared, and I thought, I'm not going to give her any information here, just as little as possible, and see what she says. So I said, there's this famous person who's come into my life in the last couple of years, and she just cut me off right there. And she started telling me all these things about how we had shared all these past lives, and that I had always been in the background boosting his ego, and now it was my turn to shine, and he was supposed to kind of step forward to help me a little bit here. So that really shocked me. And another thing that really shocked me is she said, oh, and by the way, you should take up boxing. And the reason that was so shocking is because Sammy, I found out as I went through this journey here, I didn't know it at first, but his father was a professional boxer, and Sammy had even considered following that path himself when he was younger. So when Sonia told me I should take up boxing, I was pretty shocked.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, so many synchronicities. You know, I hate to even say coincidence.
Right.
Like we were talking about before the show, there are no coincidences.
Yeah, and it really filled in a lot of the blanks for me, even though my ego mind kept saying, well, that's not logical. But it really answered a lot of questions for me, and that's when I told Sammy about what happened with Sonia, he commenced to write a song about our sort of spiritual connection, and the song is called Open, and you and I talked about that a little bit last time too. So that was an amazing honor to have someone of his stature to write a song about a little person like me.
Oh, you're anything but little, though. You're special. You're special. You definitely have a soul connection with Sammy.
Yeah.
Definitely soul connection.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful connection, and it's just wonderful. And you know, little known fact, Sammy's son actually did the artwork for your book.
Right.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Sammy asked him to, and I didn't ask him to. Sammy did, and that was another huge honor because Aaron is an amazing professional artist, and he's just such a nice person on top of it all that it was, wow, the things that happened to me just kind of blew my mind, one thing after the other, these amazing things happening. So that was the reason I really wanted to tell my story and write this book in the first place, was to show other people that these things really do happen in real life. There were so many things that I couldn't even possibly put them all in my book. One of my first editors said, you got to decide which things you're going to say here because nobody's going to read a 700-page book.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron was really wonderful as well, and it's actually his idea to put Sammy's face on the cover in the sun, which is on the cover here, and he made it kind of inconspicuous, so you really have to look closely to see what it is, but that was just perfect because that's exactly how things happened for me, is things were happening, but I really didn't see what was beyond them or behind them or the deeper meanings to them until I really started digging further and doing research and learning about all this. So yes, kudos to Aaron. Thank you so much. You did a great job.
Yes, great job, Aaron. It's just wonderful. Very artistic. And I love the beach, and you're sitting there on the beach with the sun shining on you with, like, Sammy's face beaming.
Right.
Yeah, I just absolutely love it. And I love the title, Dance of the Electric Hummingbird. Do you want to expand on that title a little bit?
Well, it kind of has a lot of meaning. It's kind of reminiscent of how we do a dance between reality and trying to figure out what is real and what is imagination in our lives, and that's a really important thing. Imagination is huge important to following your dreams and finding ways to make that happen. So it's a dance between the spiritual world as well and the physical world, which this book definitely is about. And the hummingbird has a lot of meaning. The hummingbird actually symbolizes the attainment of things that are said to be impossible. And it's also a form of dreadnought guitar. So it had a lot of meaning. And one time I asked Sammy, I don't know what even made me ask him this, but I said, if you could describe yourself as an animate thing, what would it be? And I fully thought he was going to say something like an eagle or a tiger or something, but he said a hummingbird. And so that was another reason I put hummingbird, because not only is this a dance between the spiritual world and the physical world, but it's just kind of been like a dance between him and me as well in a spiritual sense through all over these years. So that's kind of where I came up with it.
Yeah, I love that title. I love that title.
Thank you.
And I noticed the letters are in red because Sammy's the red rocker.
He is.
I love his songs, and he just writes with such spirit. You know, he writes like a lot of spiritual things, and just he really brought a lot of heart to Van Halen.
Right.
You know, Van Halen's always been great before and after, you know, but I lean towards the spiritual stuff, and I just absolutely love Both Sides Now, and your song Dreams, which we'll play next, because that's that's the song that propelled you into an out-of-body experience. So,
right.
You know, if you want to talk about, if you want to do like a little intro into the song Dreams, you know, just kind of tell everybody once again about your experience.
Well, my husband and I had taken a trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and just expecting to have a vacation of lying on the beach, maybe having some margaritas and some good food, maybe doing some deep sea fishing. And my husband told me that Sammy owned a bar down in Cabo, and I didn't know anything about Sammy at all prior to this. But my husband said, well, let's go down there and maybe we can take in a concert while we're there. So we ended up, that happened, and we were at one of Sammy's shows. He was playing live, and in the middle of his song Dreams, which I had never heard before, I felt myself lift out of my body, and I experienced pure bliss, pure euphoria. And this was not like a physical form of it. It was a very spiritual type of thing. It was just an incredible feeling. And I remember looking down and seeing my body in the concert, in the crowd of people rocking out to the song. And I thought, wait a minute, how can I be me up here and me down there at the same time? But after that, I realized that I was being lifted higher and higher, just as the words to Sammy's song go. I was in another dimension or realm of consciousness that was very different from our physical world here, our physical reality. And at first I thought that the heat had gotten to me, or maybe I shouldn't have had an extra margarita.
Yeah.
or even, you know, I thought, I wonder if somebody slipped something into my drink when I wasn't looking. These things don't happen. This just can't be happening, or I'm imagining it, or whatever. But when I was in this other dimension, I think the experience probably only lasted seconds. I have no concept of time, but I saw God there and my soul, and I saw how God and I were one and the same, and I saw how we are connected to all things on this earth, and I saw beings and landscapes in other worlds that we can't even imagine, I couldn't even really even describe to you, but there were thousands of them, and they were all connected to the earth and to this divine intelligence that I believe is God and myself. And I was overflowing with love. This divine being that I call God was just more than emanating this great love. It was flowing through me. It was part of me. And I realized at that moment that the only thing that matters in the whole universe, the only thing that matters is love. And as I said, I was overflowing with this love, and it was such a feeling of tremendous joy and ecstasy, euphoria as well, that I kind of didn't really want to leave.
Yeah, I bet.
But like I said, it lasted just seconds, I think, and then I was back in my body at the concert, and I really thought that someone next to me was going to tap me on the shoulder and ask me, like, are you okay? As if I just passed out or something. No one noticed anything different about me. I thought, how could they not notice? I just went through the ceiling and nobody noticed anything.
That's wild.
But I remember looking down at my hands in the darkness inside the bar there, and it felt like I had light coming out of my fingers, and I was still filled with this joy that I felt I was walking 10 feet above the floor when the concert was over with. So even my husband noticed afterwards that something had changed in me, which isn't like him because he doesn't believe in stuff like that at all. And I tried to explain that something really weird just happened to me in there, and he said, yeah, right, well, let's get you outside. No more tequila for you. But then he did notice. He said something really is different. And from that moment on, my life has been changed. It was like that moment opened up something inside of me, like a passageway or a doorway to the power of my mind and spirit. And incredible things just started happening to me after that. And I don't know if you want me to get into that now or if you wanted to talk about that later, but that was what started it all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, do you want to play Dreams first and then come back? I'll leave it up to you. If you want to continue, we'll continue. If not, we'll play the Dreams song by Van Halen, which Sammy wrote, by the way.
Yeah, he wrote the lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah, very spiritual, very uplifting.
Yeah.
But if you wish, kind of expand a little bit on your experience.
Well, I started having psychic abilities and experiences and things of that nature that I never had before. And things were happening to me that I couldn't explain and that I wasn't even really sure I believed in. But they were happening to me, and I got kind of scared at times because I couldn't explain them. But none of the things were ever negative. They were all overwhelmingly wonderful, positive, and great things. And but there again, I thought, am I just making this all up? Am I imagining it? And then I thought, okay, maybe I'm losing my mind. So I saw a psychologist about it, and he said, no, the things you're describing, a lot of people have described similar experiences. You're not crazy. So then I began a quest to try to figure out what could have happened and how, and what did Sammy have to do with it, and what did the concert have to do with it, and maybe being in Cabo San Lucas as well, and how did all these things play a role. So I did a lot of research trying to determine all that.
Yeah, I bet. Anytime I've had experiences similar, not quite at a rock concert, which is very cool, but I had an out-of-body experience myself back in 2008, and I could definitely relate with you. You just want to find out everything you can about it.
Right. Well, did you think you were going crazy too? I really thought I was losing
I thought I was going crazy too. I happened to be in Reiki class with a fellow student of mine, and it just happened to be a night when the 5 planets were out. Mm-hmm. They were in alignment. And it was really cool because we all went outside and we were looking at these planets, and of course you can't see them that close, but we all just went outside. It was around, I think, 10 o'clock at night, and we all went outside, and I looked at the planets, and then I looked at my school, my classmate, and all of a sudden there was a beam of light around him, a beam of light around me.
Wow.
And we just felt this tremendous connection, and next thing I know, my head turns left, I start spiraling up, and I felt weightless.
Wow. And
then when I came to, I was really, really, I seen my schoolmate, he was looking like somebody totally different, but I knew it was him. It was his astral form, and he was like a blue color. I was like a purple color.
Mm.
And I will never forget that experience as long as I live. Apparently we've had many, many past lives.
Right.
And it when you have that recognition, like you had with Sammy, it's just like, oh my God, it's like, I know you. I know you.
But the weird thing is that, I would look, after this happened to me, I started looking at doing, like I said, research even into buying Van Halen CDs and learning a little bit more about who Sammy Hagar was as a person. And I would look at these pictures of him and think, I have no idea who this guy is. not on a physical level, but something beneath it all just kept, I don't like to use the word screaming at me, but it kind of was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know it. I know it had to be. It's just when you have that recognition and then that unconditional love feeling, like, hey, I know you and I accept you and I love you for who you are.
Right.
It's like we are all one type of deal.
Yeah. Right.
So, I know after walking away from an experience like that, you're kind of like scratching your head saying, okay, what just happened? It's like,
Yeah, and it just kind of snowballed from there and just kept getting, more and more intense and more things kept happening. And I changed physically as well. I just never been so happy in my whole entire life. I lost 30 pounds without even trying, which I needed to lose.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Complete strangers would come up to me and say, and just go out of their way to be nice to me and approach me. And my neighbors would tell me things like, wow, I didn't even recognize you walking down the street. I thought it was somebody new that moved into the neighborhood.
Wow.
Or they'd say, what are you doing differently? You look so great and you look 10 years younger. And so I really changed physically as well. It was just an amazing, not just a spiritual transformation, but an all-over transformation, which is really wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could definitely relate. There was a lot of energetic things going on around me after that experience.
Yeah.
Like I had a house in New York, and I had this tree it had a huge stump with 2 huge limbs hanging off of it. And then one day, all of a sudden, one of the limbs cracked and fell, and that thing probably weighed about, I'm not even kidding you, about 800 pounds. It was huge. And it just missed my shed, which I loved very much, and my car, which I loved very much, just missed it by inches.
Wow.
And none of us heard, I was married to a different man that time, and none of us had heard anything. You would think a big limb like that would make a big thud.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Wow.
So it was just amazing. And, I came back to class, the following day, and I told everybody about my experience, and that is symbolic of a life change.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, before I knew it, about, I think less than 2 weeks later, I moved very impromptu from New York to Florida.
Wow.
And whenever you have this kind of energy going through you, you're going to have major life changes. Your body's going to change.
Right.
Circumstances and people are going to change.
Yep.
So I'll never forget it, as long as I live.
Oh, no, you don't forget things like that.
No, absolutely not.
No, Yeah, the whole journey that started there led me to self-realization and to the realizing of my dream to be a writer, which had always been a dream of mine, but I never thought that I was good enough. I never thought I could write. I never thought, I can't do that. So I never really pursued it in a public fashion. I just would write poems and little things and never showed them to anybody. But due to Sammy's encouragement as well in that area, he helped me, and that was just one of the ways that he helped me to make this come true for me. So that's another message of my book too, is never give up on your dreams, because you never know where something can lead you, like you were just saying, a major transformation like that. And so, yeah, I'm living proof that dreams really do come true. So I guess intro to dreams, right?
Yeah, that's a fabulous intro to dreams. I'm going to play that right now. This is Dreams by Van Halen, everybody. We'll be back as soon as this song's done. And this is the song that propelled Patricia into an amazing out-of-body experience. So listen to this, listen to the lyrics, and just feel what Sammy's saying. So with that, I am going to play Dreams by Van Halen. Grab that golden ring, everybody. Believe in your dreams. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. Hey, I'm jealous. I would love to have an out-of-body experience and hear that song.
Yeah. I'd like to mention, though, too, to people who are listening that although Sammy was very good to me and instrumental in my journey here and the way things came about, my book is not just a book for fans of rock and roll music or Sammy Hagar. It's a book for anybody who's searching for meaning in their lives or maybe finding themselves in a rut and thinking, is this all there is to life? Because that's really what the underlying message is. One time, Sammy was introducing me to a friend of his, and I said, I wrote this book about Sammy, and he looked at me and he said, no, you wrote a book about you.
Yeah. It's true, and what a journey you had.
So, yeah, I don't want people to be fooled by thinking that it's a story about a fan and a rock star, because while that is a very, very small part of it, it's not the main message here. The reason that's there is again because there were so many amazing, incredible things that I just thought these things just don't happen in life, and especially to people like me who are middle class, middle-aged housewife and mom and stay-at-home mom at the time. These things just, you don't think anything like this can even happen, but I just wanted to add that so that people didn't get the wrong idea.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's a definite, connection of spiritual journey, and it's an amazing one.
Right.
And do you get a lot of people that come up to you and say, well, is this just a big fan of Sammy's, or did this really happen? Do you get questioned a lot about that?
Not really. I think most people that have read the book understand that, and I think that it's not the most important thing, as I mentioned. So I haven't really had a lot of people ask me, is this just you being a fan of his? Honestly, I really thought I would have that reaction from people, but I really haven't. So that's kind of good. But I also explored that for myself when I was doing my research for this book, I tried to think of every possible explanation that could ever be out there to explain what happened to me, and that was one of them. Am I just being enamored with this big rock star who's giving me attention? Am I just blowing things out of proportion and thinking it's all based on that? But the research that I came up with showed me that when you are idolizing somebody, a lot of people tend to lose themselves in the adoration of a celebrity, and that was exactly the opposite what happened to me. I didn't lose myself through this. I found myself through this. So it was kind of the opposite. So after all my exploration in that area, I concluded that wasn't a factor. But I was worried about that as well, personally. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. But, reading your book, you can tell that you're genuine and that you really went through a lot to get to that point.
Right. Yeah, and it's just been, it's led me to meet the most incredible people as well, which is a big part of this as well. And you had mentioned at the beginning, when you introduced me, about infinite possibilities, and I have met the most incredible people through infinite possibilities. I am now a certified trainer to teach infinite possibilities workshops, and I'm getting ready to do that. it's based on a book by the same name by Mike Dooley. Shout out to Mike Dooley and all the IP people out there. And so I'm getting ready to teach those workshops, and that's all about believing in yourself and realizing that your thoughts shape where you are in your life right now. And so that's a very big thing that happened to me without me even realizing it or consciously thinking about it, when all of this stuff just started falling into place for me, and it actually led me to, the Infinite Possibilities program, which was incredible. My book, when it was published, my publisher's partner, significant other, whatever you want to call her, she told me about Mike Dooley's website called tut.com, and he puts out these little emails, notes from the universe, and they're really just they're all very uplifting and positive, and some of them are kind of silly, but they just make you feel really good. And so I started getting those in my email every day, and for some reason one day I just thought, well, if he ever comes to Denver, I'm going to go see him and see what this guy's all about and what he's teaching. Well, it probably wasn't even 2 weeks later, up came an email saying that he was coming to Denver, so I went to his talk and became a certified trainer. And the great thing about that was as I said, I was putting out this energy to the universe all along, but I didn't even realize I was doing it. I would go to do book signings and tell people about what my story was about, but I really felt like I didn't want to just stand up in front of people and talk at them. I wanted to give people something that they could take with them, a tool so that they could realize the same types of things that I did. And I just didn't really know how to do that. So I just kept kind of praying and putting it out there. Please give me tools to help people. And then along came this Infinite Possibilities program, that's exactly what it does. So I'm really excited to share that with people, because it goes right along with everything that happened to me and reinforces the concepts I talk about in my book, but gives people practical applications for their own lives to be able to better their lives as well. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll be the first to sign up for that.
Oh. Yeah. We'll be doing an internet version eventually. So that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I bet. That's going to be fantastic. And I've always wanted to go visit the Monroe Institute, and a little history about the Monroe Institute. The founder, Robert, also known as Bob Monroe, was born in Indiana in 1915, and he graduated from Ohio State University in 1937 with a BA in English. He began a career in radio, first working as a writer, director, and producer of radio programs, and then eventually forming his own radio production and cable television companies. And in 1956, Monroe's firm set up a research and development division to study the effects of various sound patterns on human consciousness. In particular, learning during sleep. In 1958, while using himself as a test subject, Monroe began to experience states of consciousness in which he felt himself separating from his physical body, what he described as an out-of-body experience. Wanting to learn more about these and other unusual experiences, Robert Monroe began experimenting with expanded states of consciousness, eventually chronicling his experiences. He's got a book trilogy, Journeys Out of the Body, Far Journeys, and Ultimate Journey. So, he knew a thing or two about out-of-body experiences.
Yeah. That's a whole different thing than the Infinite Possibilities, but it goes hand in hand with it. And I went to the Monroe Institute and took their Gateway Voyage program, which is a week-long program, and you actually stay right there on the grounds, and they put you in what they call a check unit, which stands for Controlled Holistic Environmental Chamber. Sounds really scary, but it's not.
Yeah. I was thinking, oh, you really went.
Yeah, and what it is Bob Monroe himself devised these techniques after doing thousands and thousands of experiments on people to help people achieve the out-of-body state. And as you mentioned, he uses sound to do that with, and what they call binaural beats, which means they put a certain frequency in one ear. You wear headphones, and they put a certain frequency in one ear, and the other ear is a slightly different frequency, and the brain compensates between the two, and it sounds like a wave, kind of like a wah, 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 which you wouldn't hear if you were listening to them separately. And this induces the both sides of the brain, the left and the right side of the brain, to become in balance, and it helps you to achieve much more than you could ever achieve. I think without it, it really helps you use your whole brain and realize things that, boy, you never could have realized before. So you go in the check unit. It's this little, about the size of a twin-size bed, I think, and it's all enclosed. And there's a black drape that goes across the opening. So you're, as much as you can be cut off from outside stimuli. They have air flowing into it so that you're comfortable, and a really nice soft bed, and you put the headphones on, and then they play different programs with Bob Monroe's voice guiding you to different levels of consciousness. And I thought this was really interesting because for me it felt like the next step, since I'd had an out-of-body experience due to sound, music, and I thought this would be the next thing for me to explore and see how this relates. So I've taken the Gateway Voyage, which is their initial one that you need to take if you're going to go on further. And, pardon me, I'm getting ready to take another class coming up this year as well. And eventually I'm studying to become a outreach facilitator for the Monroe Institute as well. What they're doing is just tremendous. They have lots of scientific backup on and everything. Bob Monroe was really meticulous about keeping things as scientific as possible so that people couldn't accuse him of being too, woo-woo.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing, the things that I've experienced there, combined with what happened to me completely unknowingly, and it reinforces my, and I don't like to use the word belief, but because I no longer believe that God exists. I now know that God exists. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't have to believe it. I know it. I experienced it. And I also know that when the physical body dies, your essence, your spirit, or whatever you want to call it, goes on. So these were some of the things that I experienced firsthand through the Monroe Institute. It's a really, really great place.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the places that I've always wanted to go to.
Oh, you should.
Yeah. There's a place called Casadega out in, I think it's near Orlando, Florida, because I'm located in Florida. My husband and I want to go there sometime, and it's a very spiritual place. But the Monroe Institute is both spiritual and scientific.
Right.
So that's really cool. I love the mixture of spirituality and science.
And I think it's starting to come together a little more in these recent years. You're starting to see movies like What the Bleak Do We Know, and a lot of movies similar to that, and a lot of studies, and more people are starting to speak out. So I think I think maybe these things are starting to come together, which is really important for our spiritual awakening of our nation, of our earth. Things like this have really helped to contribute to that. So I'm just really excited to be a part of all of that. And none of that would have happened if I wouldn't have had my out-of-body experience in the middle of Sammy's concert.
Right. That is so awesome. I still can't get over that. I think that's really awesome.
I keep telling Sam he needs to go try the Monroe Institute. Maybe he will one of these days. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. I think he would love it there.
I know he would.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think maybe we'll play Dreams Are Out There Waiting. It's a great song. My two friends, John Tobacco and Joe Giulio, had written this song. So we heard Dreams before by Van Halen, so we're kind of going with like a little bit of a dream theme tonight. And Joe Giulio is also a producer. He produced some of my songs, which I'm going to play, Where Have You Been All My Life? It's about me meeting my higher self and then being able to project that love out and attract love in, which, brought my husband David, who, by the way, like I mentioned in the last program, loves Sammy Hagar and Van Halen, and he watches Live on a Net religiously practically every day on DVD. So, he just absolutely loves it, and I love my hubby. So I'm going to play Dreams Are Out There Waiting by Tobacco Giulio, and they do have this song out on iTunes, so you'll like it. That's where you can find it. So I'm going to play it right now, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
I know that you've been waiting for the moment to be right, wondering if it really matters, and if it's worth the fight. But tell yourself that it's not make a quick decision, but I can tell your story. Just need some revision. Dreams are out there waiting. Dreams are out there waiting. Dreams are out there waiting for you to make the first move. Then they'll come to you.
Wow, that was a great song. I love that song. So I wanted to talk also about, well, we were talking a bit about the Monroe Institute. Somebody called in earlier before. They were on for about 4 minutes and then they dropped off. If they wish to call in, they're more than welcome to. They can call back. We'll gladly take you. Pat, I wanted to ask you a few things. Now, besides you spiraling up in that experience, you said you seen letters and actually the words that Sammy was singing, and they were shimmering.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting how our senses are really kind of illusory in a way, if that's even a word, but betraying us sometimes, I think, because it was like my senses all kind of switched places. I was seeing the words I was hearing coming out of Sammy's mouth, and they were like big block letters, and they were trimmed in silver and just shimmering. And that was one of the very first things I noticed when this experience started to happen to me. The very first thing was that I felt a very strong connection with him, and I describe it in the book as like a liquid beam of golden light flowing back and forth between Sammy and me while he was up on the stage. And I thought, well, that's silly. Why would I feel a connection to somebody I've never met, someone I've never even heard of before?
Yeah.
So I found it interesting that you described seeing light as well when you were talking about your out-of-body experience, because that was really the first thing that I noticed was different. And then I started to see these words coming out of his mouth, and at that point was when I started thinking, wow, I wonder if somebody slipped something into my drink, because this just doesn't happen. But as I rose higher out of my body, more and more of my physical senses just kept dropping away, as if they were only needed in the physical world and they weren't necessary in the dimension to where I was going. And all that I experienced once I got there was this extreme, I couldn't even really think. All I could do was observe. So it was just this overwhelming love, and as I mentioned before, it was the only thing that mattered. So what I thought or what I heard or felt or anything else didn't even seem like it was important at the time.
Oh yeah, you forget about all the mundane things that go on here on planet Earth. And you just get catapulted. Like with me, I was way up. This is going to sound really wild, but I was so close to the moon I could literally touch it when it happened to me, and it was amazing. And I didn't know how I got there. Didn't care. All I felt was peace.
Right.
And just illumination, like you wouldn't believe, and just love, like this abundance of love. And I didn't want to leave, but then I had to get back down. I had an urgency just to get back down in my body, because I felt all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I'm way up here. I got to get back down.
Right.
First I didn't care, but then I was like, I sound like a valley girl. Oh my God. And I just felt all of a sudden as I was descending, it's like I put my arms down to my side and I just willed myself. I tilted my head back and I just willed myself to go down. And I just felt like I was getting heavier and heavier, and part of me was like, are you sure you want to come back? Right. But I came back, and then I seen my classmate come back, and it was the weirdest thing. It was the coolest thing, but kind of weird too. I mean, he was starting to get back into his form, and then half of his body was like almost like a vapor type of thing, like a spiral vapor.
Right.
And I was just like, whoa. I'm like, dude.
that's what I noticed as well when I had the experience during the concert, is that my body was not a physical body, and it was like you just described it. It felt and looked, I can't even say it felt, it looked like vapor or cloud or something of that nature. And the thing that I've learned at the Monroe Institute and through all of these other studies that I've been doing is that we are so much more than our physical bodies. There's just, that's just, and I'm sure everybody's heard it before, it's just kind of like our little shell to contain our soul or whatever. But when you have an experience like that, you really come right face to face with something like that, and it's pretty hard to process it.
Yeah.
There are no words, really.
Yeah, it sure is. It's just really unbelievable. It's just a beautiful, loving experience. It's like, it's acceptance, it's unconditional love.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm kind of a big girl. You know, I'm a little hefty. And I felt weightless, and I felt like I was in my young body. Mm-hmm. You know, I had so much energy and so much light coming through me. I didn't want to get back in my husband's body. I'm like, hey, cool, instant diet. I'm slim. You know, just like you said, you lost 30 pounds. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was an amazing thing. You know, I was, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was close to 300 pounds at that point.
Mm.
And, you know, after that experience, I too lost weight, and but I did kind of gain some of it back, but that's okay. Yeah. You know, a little diet and a little, you know, I have a hypothyroid, which is also a typical trait of a medium. Mm. So I'm a medium myself, which I know you are as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I if I may back up a second there for what you said about when you felt like you wanted to get back in your body. I know exactly what that feels like. I didn't have that feeling when I had my out-of-body experience during the concert, but at the Monroe Institute in a couple of the exercises, I had that feeling, and I think part of it for me was fear, like, what if I can't get back? What if I don't know the way back?
Yeah.
I'm not ready to permanently leave this world yet. I have too much to do. And
yeah. And they say
that I love.
What keeps us anchored to our bodies is that silver cord. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That silver cord, which is located, I believe, in your, what do you call it, your solar plexus.
Solar plexus, right.
Right. Yeah, which is right above your belly, a little bit above your belly button. So.
Yeah, and I had moments of where, laying in my little cubicle with the headphones on, my arm and my hand actually separated. My right hand and my right arm at about the elbow kept just like going out of body.
Wow.
Talk about a strange experience. It's really, really hard to explain, but I felt like I had a physical hand in two places at once. And the best way I can describe it is if you move your fingers on your hand, two fingers in different directions, it was kind of like that. But I know I only have one arm, but it was doing two separate things at the same time. And one of the trainers there, I was telling him, I said, I don't know what's happening, but this feels really weird. And he says, well, you had an out-of-hand experience.
Hey, you can see you were getting out of hand.
I was.
That's funny.
So typical of me. Just ask my husband.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I bet your husband, you know, he probably witnessed some things going on with you, I'm sure, you know, being so close to you. And he was a major catalyst in your change, like you said earlier. You know, he took you to see a Sammy concert, and he was the catalyst for all of this.
Many times, yeah. And the funny part about that is he doesn't believe in any of this stuff, but he's seen the results of it, and they say that we choose our partners for a reason, and they, they help us on our journey, and he definitely has. So whether he believes or doesn't believe doesn't really matter, because we're all on our different spiritual journeys, and just there to help each other along.
Yeah. If everybody can just feel the oneness. I know it. Everybody's like, oh, that's just so, kumbaya. All this oneness talk. But it's true. We're all connected.
Yeah, it is true, because before I had this experience, I can't honestly say that I never heard of a movie or a book or whatever about someone having something similar, even though I can't honestly recall ever having seen that. But I think realistically, I'm sure I must have heard of something at some point in my life, but I never heard anybody make the kind of description that I did, that you're saying as well, and until I had my experience and I started looking online and reading other people's accounts of things, and we're all saying the same thing. There's just love is at the core of everything, and there's this feeling of peace and bliss and connection, like you mentioned, and everybody who's had a near-death experience or an out-of-body experience, a lot of people say the same types of things. So whether we're influenced by hearing other people, I'm sure that's part of it, but I think in my case, I don't actually remember ever hearing of anything like that prior to my experience, which was why it was so scary for me, because I didn't have anybody to talk to or ask.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard when you go through it by yourself. I mean, a lot of these experiences are beautiful, but when you go through them by yourself,
right.
It makes you scratch your head and say, huh?
Yeah.
Did this really happen?
Yes.
And then the doubts start creeping in, and then finally when you meet somebody that's had a similar experience, you're just like, wow, oh my God, it really did happen.
Yeah. Validate each other's experiences, which I think is really important, that people speak out, because I've had a lot of people write me letters and tell me, thank you for writing your book and being so honest, because I've had similar things happen to me, and I was scared or, didn't want to say anything because I didn't want people to think I was crazy. And obviously by your speaking out about this and others speaking out about it, it gives other people the strength that they need to realize that they're not crazy, that what's happening to them is normal and it's natural, and it's nothing to fear. It's a great gift. So hopefully it can inspire more people to speak out and people to come together, and hopefully by doing that, we can make the world a better place.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When people realize the oneness that we all share, and that, it's like the old paradigm was, I know I'm getting off track a little bit, but the old paradigm was, the more money you made, the better you were, which we all know is BS. The new paradigm is we're all one. We all come from the same God, no matter, whoever we call God, goddess, universe, whatever we call our higher power. Mm-hmm. We're all connected.
Right.
And I'm loving it. I am loving that the old is starting to fall away, and that the new paradigm shift has started. And it's been going on for a while.
Right.
We're seeing it in, advanced healthcare, a lot of infusion of natural alternative remedies. We're seeing it with advocates for, what we're eating, because you wouldn't believe what's put in our food. I could do a whole show about that. We'll leave that out. But, and also, Also, well, we all know about contrails and all that. I just had to get on my soapbox for a little bit, everybody. There's just a lot of old paradigm stuff that's, that still needs to be worked on, but, at least we're breaking through. At least the truth is being told. Right. And the right people will hear it and act on it. So I'm off my soapbox now.
Well, I think to go along with that, too, is our beliefs. We really need to challenge the things that we accept, even if it's our own, coming from ourselves, but especially if it's coming from someone else. We really need to challenge those beliefs about ourselves and our world, because that's what my experience did for me. It really made me challenge what my definition of what's real and what's important in my life. And when you think about some of the things that I was taught, for instance, growing up, raised Catholic, I was taught that the Catholic Church is the one true, Catholicism is the one true religion, and everybody else is going to hell. And
yeah,
I always want to say that I'm never knocking anybody's religious beliefs or their religion or their church or anything, because what works for one person, if that works for you, great. It just didn't work for me. That wasn't my path. But just to really challenge those things that we've been taught to believe and raised to believe about ourselves, and that's a huge important thing, because I believed, as I mentioned earlier, that I can't be a writer. I don't know how to do that. Well, I needed to shift that. I proved to myself that I can do it, just like everybody else can prove to themselves that they can do whatever they put their minds to and believe that they can do as well. So that's a really big part of it, and ferreting out those beliefs that don't suit us and realizing that we have a choice. We don't have to follow this or that because someone else said so, or we don't have to uphold a certain belief that we have about ourselves, that we may have had all our lives. If it's no longer serving us, we can make that choice to change that. And when we start, now I'm on my soapbox.
That's okay. You're welcome. You're welcome to.
And then when we start making those choices and making those changes, that's when we really begin to see what we're capable of. And they're just little tiny things sometimes. For example, if I just would like to share a story, if I may. I had foot surgery back in November, and foot surgery is a very long healing process. And through the winter months when it's dark and whatnot and cold, and I couldn't even get out of the house for 2 months. I was stuck at home and not really able to do much. Really made me rely on other people a whole lot more than I would have liked to, but that was par for the course. But, it was a big struggle for me not to get depressed about it and get down with all the darkness and the pain and worrying, am I making this worse or whatever, and just feelings of helplessness and whatnot, and trying not to get swallowed up in that. And recently I went to my doctor for an appointment, and I was completely expecting her to say, you're going to have a lot longer road to go, that, you're really not making any progress. And I don't know why I think because of all the feeling sorry for myself all these months and trying so desperately to get better really fast and whatnot. But she told me, no, you're actually doing better than I expected you to be. But I've been meditating a lot lately and praying and sending healing energy to my foot and trying to heal myself and asking my guides and my spirit helpers and God and everybody who was willing to help to send healing energy to that. So apparently it worked, and I was really pleasantly surprised to get a great news from my doctor, much better than I thought it would be. So I think it's a great example of how our thinking can really influence our lives. All this time I'm thinking, oh, it's dark, it's negative, I'm helpless, I'm in pain or whatever. But as soon as I switched that, it really made a difference. And someone could say maybe that, well, it was just the passage of time, which is true. But according to my past visits and everything, I think that all the positive thoughts and everything that I was sending really hastened my healing. So the universe is always working on our behalf, even if we don't always see it. But we just have to believe in that and believe in ourselves. And so that was my soapbox speech.
Oh, that's good. I like it. I liked it a lot.
The power of positive thought is just amazing.
It is.
Yeah. There's no comparison.
Oh, there isn't. And I call it the cosmic boomerang. What you think, say, and do comes right back at you.
You bet. If you're out negativity, the thing with that is if you're putting out negativity, that's what you're looking for. So that's what you're going to see. If you're looking for the positive, you're going to see that. I posted on my Facebook page a picture of a block of wood or something, and they had two lights shining on it from different angles. From one angle, it looked like it was square, and from the other angle, it looked like it was round. And that's just kind of how our perspective is. If we just kind of take a little sidestep, even a little half sidestep, sometimes we'll be able to see things in a completely different way, and which opens up opportunities and things that we couldn't see before, that we didn't think were ever there before. Again, that's exactly what happened to me with my book, is everything that happened just opened up more and more opportunities that I couldn't even conceive of happening to me in my wildest dreams before this. So,
wow. I mean, who would have thought, right?
Right. Exactly.
Oh, wow. It's definitely communing with the higher self, and I wrote a song about that called "Where Have You Been All My Life." It was about me finding my higher self, and I'll give you a really quick story. When I first moved to Florida, and I was still numb from my experiences. Yeah. From all that energy from the Reiki class, and the life changes. I had to calm myself down, and I figured, well, I learned about chakras, and I learned that they have to be cleaned out. Because at one point, mine were all black, and my heart chakra was underneath my left arm. So it was, to say I was in a bad place would be, putting it mildly. And when I was in New York, before I even took the Reiki class, the lady, Paula, I want to give a shout out to Paula Romano. She was a big help, and Aviana Deerhart and Gail Swenson. They all helped me. They had a place called the Grace Within, and they now do the Grace Within Without Walls. So if you're ever on Long Island, everybody, you just have to check out their Facebook page, Grace Within Without Walls, and these people really truly care, and they help me. Get all my chakras cleared and put back into place. And, had that wonderful Reiki class that changed my life. And, what I was getting to is, when I got to Florida, I basically, I got this Doreen Virtue CD. She's the angel lady, and she has a PhD in psychology. And she has this Clearing Chakras CD and book. So the very first time I did that, I was by myself in, here in Florida in my room, and all of a sudden that night when I went to bed after doing the CD and going through all my chakras, I heard right above my head, "Hello there, stranger," in a very, beautiful voice. I sound like a Looney Tune talking like that, but I'll never forget that experience either. It's, you know, like right above my head, I could feel the vibration of the voice. Mm-hmm. Very powerful, but yet very loving.
Right.
And that was my higher self talking to me. And I wrote a song about that called Where Have You Been All My Life? And I had, you know, it was based on that experience, plus knowing that I was going to be with my husband 3 years before we were together. So I'm gonna go ahead and play that song next, and then we'll come back and we'll talk. I guess we'll talk more about our experiences, huh?
Wonderful.
Yes. So we'll be right back. First I better find that song because it's quite an extensive list. Oh, let's see. I think I put up on top. Well, maybe not. So I'm scrolling. Sorry, everybody. But maybe I'll put on another song until I find it, and then we'll come back and talk, and I'll put it on a little bit later. I tell you, this Mercury retrograde is killing me.
It needs to be done now.
Yes, it does. Well, I always like Three Sunrises by U2, so I'm going to play that next, everybody, and then when we come back, we'll talk some more, and then eventually I'll get my song on. So we'll be right back. Oh, love that song. Three Sunrises by U2. I think it was, there is no coincidence. I think me screwing up was part of the plan, because that was a perfect song.
It was.
Thanks. Even though I did upload mine finally. That's what I didn't do. I didn't upload it. I thought I did. Oh, I tell you. Gotta love Mercury retrograde. Gotta have something to blame it on.
Exactly. I think it's a very apt thing to blame it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
So, we basically just want to let everybody know that, you're not alone in these experiences, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about your book. Now, at the end of your book, you say that you're standing up on a stage and that you finally, you got it. You got what Sammy was all about, what he meant to you, that he brought out a side to you that you had forgotten you had. You were fragmented before because you had other obligations, and like a lot of people, you had to put your dreams on the back burner.
Right.
And, and I think it's wonderful that you were able to follow your dreams, and look where it's leading you. It's fantastic spiritually, and your book is just taken off like wildfire.
Yeah, it's been a long way from being abused and beaten by my first husband, and having a lot of feelings of inferiority and never thinking I would ever be good enough, and to actually have manifested my dream to be a writer. So it's just been an incredible ride, and it's still going.
Yeah, and it ain't never gonna stop either.
No.
Gotta grab that golden ring, like Sammy says in Dreams.
You bet.
That's just wonderful.
Yeah, we can take any situation and learn from it. Me being a writer, I have to write things down and to process them and to sort through them. And I actually recommend that to people as well, maybe not to the extent that I write, but I think I'm often asked by people, what can other people do to have an experience like you've had? And I think it's really important to keep your eyes open and your hearts open to things going on around you, and going again with the theme of dreams, which seems to be our theme tonight.
Yeah.
It's really important to pay attention to your dreams, and if you can write them down at night when you have them, and I don't mean just your nighttime dreams, but your daytime dreams as well. That's another thing. Just write things down, and sometimes you'll see a pattern. You and I had talked about that before we went on the air, how keeping journals and my journals, that when I read back on them, because I've kept journals since all of this began, because there were so many amazing and strange things happening to me, I just couldn't process them. So when I started to put things together to write this book, I went over my journals, and I realized when I reread them that there were many premonitions that I'd had that I had no idea what they meant at the time, but when I read back on them, I knew exactly what they meant. So things were not coincidence or anything. They everything was meant to be from the beginning. So that's a really big thing, I think, is to really listen to your heart and write things down. And another really good thing too, I think, is meditation. If you can just quiet your mind and get out of the way of your busy mind to let your spiritual part of you take over to soothe you and to help show you the way. I know it's kind of cliche sounding, but it's an amazing tool as well. Even if you just sit down for a couple minutes a day and just breathe.
Yeah.
It's very healing. So we're just so stressed I think nowadays we have all this technology and ability to do all this, but we end up doing more rather than turning off the TV and sitting down with our friends or our family and chatting with each other and getting to know each other on a personal basis and really listening to one another. That's another big thing. So if we can do more of those kinds of things, that I think those all really help. And well, I'm on a roll here, I guess.
Hey, that's great. I love when you're on a roll.
Other things I think is getting out in nature, because that's like another sort of meditation, or if you have hobbies that you like to do, just lose yourself in your hobbies, because that's a form of meditation as well. And
you'd be amazed at how many, like, an instant download of information you get, because that's basically what meditation is. It's like an instant download, and just like you said, all these hobbies really help with that. Right, and it's the relaxation, I think, is you kind of switch off that analytical mind and get it out of the way for a little bit, because I don't know about you, but oftentimes if I'm in the shower, I'll have like this great insight. Yeah, you get like that great insight, and I've had some of my best songs come into my head.
That's it. And so you have to jump out of the shower all dripping wet and write it down before you forget, right?
Yeah, or maybe keep like a recorder or something in there just in case,
Right.
just make sure it's battery operated so you don't get short-circuited if it's plugged in.
That's it. But yeah, I think, all of those are things people can do, and realizing that they have a choice and how their thoughts and their beliefs affect where they are right now, and to challenge those if they're not suiting you, challenge those beliefs. Maybe you have outgrown them and don't need them anymore. And so those are all things, I think, and a very big thing. And again, it probably sounds cliche, but I think you need to look for joy in your life. First of all, you need to be grateful for where you are in your life and the things that you have, and not focus on what you don't have, but focus on the blessings and the things that you do have, the wonderful people in your lives, a roof over your head, whatever that may be, because I think we tend to take things for granted sometimes, and we're so focused on, I don't have this and I need to get that, we forget to be grateful.
Oh, yeah. So, absolutely.
Yeah. So look at those things, and then find the things that bring you joy and do them as often as you can, because that's what it's all about. And it doesn't have to be something that costs money. Maybe like for me, I love being around my grandkids. I have 4 little grandchildren whom I just adore, and so that's just a very big joy in my life, and I try to do that as often as I can. And it's not something that costs money, but it's something that's priceless. So and helps my soul heal and my spirit grow. And so those are the things I think that people can do, and realize that the answers are already inside of you. You already know them. You've just, a lot of times I think we tend to look outside of ourselves for answers and want other people to do the work for us and give us answers, but that's not always relevant from one person to the next. So
right, yeah. Everybody's journey is a little different.
Yeah.
You have to do the work. There's a great book by Byron Katie called The Work, and that's, everybody's telling me, do the work. Everything you need is inside you. And I used to look and say, where?
Right.
But we have the 7 power, well, actually we have more than 7 chakras, but 7 main chakras, and, that's our power centers, and each represents something different. Mm-hmm. And you have to make sure that, the easiest way to see if they're in balance is if you get a pendulum and just put it right in front of each chakra, and if it's spinning, then the chakra's healthy. If it just goes zoop, just stand still. You got to do your work there. So, that's that's a lot of it. Plus, especially changing attitude and shifting your focus from negative to positive, and speaking, saying, doing the right thing. That's a big help. The cosmic boomerang.
That's right. That's what it's all about right there.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we're brought together and connecting the way we have is because we have this same message that we really want to share with people and hope that we can make a difference, even if it's a little teeny bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Life. That's what it's all about. So.
Yeah, that's true. And once you do the work and you emanate, because the world is a reflection, it's a mirror of how we think and feel.
Yep.
So, got to take care of yourself, mind, body, and soul.
You bet.
Well, I finally found my song. So this song's all about it, all about what we just talked about, balancing ourselves out and meeting our higher self and, and attracting the love that we've been waiting for. So, this will be the last song of the evening, and it's written by me, sung by me, and my producer friend Joe Giulio. He really, talk about making dreams come true. He didn't ask for a penny to do these songs for me. He just believed in me, and he just, I did like 4 songs with him, and he was just amazing. He just backed me up, and, he's just wonderful, and I wanted to thank him and his family for giving him the time to help me with this. Special thanks to his wife, Debbie, and of course, his daughter, Laura, and his son, Brandon. So thank you all, and I'm going to play Where Have You Been All My Life by me. And Joe Giulio is the producer, and he does all the background music. So I'll play that now, and then when we come back, we'll still have some time to hang out. With my soul, you came to me on a sunny day. Yeah, I'm so glad that you're gonna stay. While he just wanted to play with some hearts and saw the dollar straight. So let her have another sweet. Hey, love that I can really see. I am so glad you came along. This love I feel
better place. Yeah, you put that smile back on my face. I've been watching, waiting, anticipating for a love so true. Here I am, looking at you.
So that was me.
Great song.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I got inspired, and it was all, like all my experiences that led me to meeting my higher self and reflecting that love back out, and I got it in return, when I met my husband, David, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, thanks, yeah. So, now your Infinite Possibilities, once again, so it'll be at the Monroe Institute, and pretty soon they're going to have it on the internet too.
Well, it's not actually at the Monroe Institute. That's a whole different organization.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They specialize in altered states of consciousness and out-of-body experiences, and the Infinite Possibilities is a program just to teach you how to make the most out of your life. It's kind of a not necessarily one-on-one type of program, but it's a really great practical program for teaching people to realize their dreams. And their little statement, Mike Dooley says, is thoughts become things. And that's very true. What we talked about already, how what we think and what we believe in is reflected in where we find ourselves in our lives. So it's teaching people how to get in touch with the limiting thoughts that they have that may be preventing them from living the life of their dreams. So, yeah, it's a whole different thing than Monroe Institute.
Oh, okay. Yep. Sorry, I got that confused.
That's okay.
It's that Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, it is.
That little messenger just messes me up.
Yeah. Does that to a lot of us.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So I just wanted to ask, what kind of advice would you give somebody? There's a lot of people out there who what I call closet metaphysicians, really, that they're into all this, but they don't act on it, and, because they're too afraid of being, everybody seeing them as kind of woo-woo.
Right.
What would you say to them?
I think just what I mentioned earlier about being open to things and looking for ways to find joy in their lives, and realize that nothing is impossible. There is no such thing as impossible. If you can dream it, you can make it come true in your life for you. Of the other things that I mentioned, pay attention to things going on around you, your dreams, write things down, keep a record of when interesting things happen to you, because they might have lessons for you and they likely do, that you may not realize until you look back on them. So all of those things, meditate, be in nature and the hobbies and all those kinds of things. I think if we get more in tune to ourselves, and it's like that, kind of like that little speech they give you on the airplane, is put your oxygen mask on before helping the person next to you.
Yes.
So I think that's a great analogy, because you really have to take care of yourself first before you can help other people. As much as you might want to be helpful to someone else, if you're not doing whatever it takes to take care of yourself, then you gotta love yourself first. And
absolutely.
Then that just goes out, a millionfold to other people. They can feel it and they can sense it, and then you're a shining example to other people as well. So I think you really just have to start with yourself, and don't beat yourself up. Don't try to make things happen. Concentrate on the feelings that you want to have, and don't worry about how they're going to take place. Just let them come, and they will.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I really believe that, and that's one long journey that I had to take, with self-love, because, I have been, I felt like I was a mission soul, somebody that's supposed to help other people, and I kind of let myself go, physically, right, financially and all that, and I finally decided, what, it's like you said with the airplane thing, with the oxygen mask falling, you got to help yourself first before you can help others, because
right,
if you can't help yourself, you can't help other people.
Right. And everybody has a gift, a different gift to give to the world, and everybody has his or her own different way of presenting that gift, which is what makes everyone's gift so special. And I know maybe it sounds kind of corny and all, but I truly believe that. That was one of the things that I learned with the Infinite Possibilities as well, is that everybody has a different approach, and nobody's infringing on anybody else, and that goes for any profession in any aspect as well. There's plenty for everybody, and where we get this notion of I shouldn't have this because I might be taking from someone else, that's one of those limiting beliefs that's a bunch of crap, because there's plenty for everybody. There's plenty of good stuff out there for everybody. We're not robbing someone else of something by going after our dreams or by achieving what's important to us. So
yes, that's very important for everybody to know. There's plenty for everybody. Don't listen to what the media says, and that's another soapbox. But what? All the negative. There's not enough.
Yeah.
And meanwhile they're trying to get you to buy everything. So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The American way.
I'm telling you. There's actually a song by George Harrison's son, Danny Harrison, spelled D-H-A-N-I, and he's with the group The New Note too, and they have an excellent song called Choose What You're Watching, and it addresses the media nonsense, but Before we go, I want to thank you, Pat, for joining me. It's been another wonderful 2 hours. I can't believe it went so fast. Pat's book is Dance of the Electric Hummingbird, and it can be found on Barnes & Noble. Right now it's sold out at Amazon.com. It's that good. Go to www.bajarockpat.net. That's BAJAROCKPAT.net. And just visit her beautiful website. You can just really learn a lot from it. And Pat, I look forward to having you back again on the show. We'll have plenty to talk about.
Thanks so much for having me. I had a wonderful time, and those 2 hours just went by. I hope other people enjoyed it as much as I did.
Oh, me too. I hope they did too. At least we had great conversation. And it's always a pleasure having you on. You're just so interesting.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Many blessings, and I'm sure I'm going to talk to you even more after the show. So
yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Blessings to everyone out there listening as well. Thank you so much.
Blessings and thanks to everybody.